hit somebody else. I want to watch him, like, beat someone.
And that right there.
Get up, Howard! Get up!
These two right here. Rainbow. I want Bob Murray out here.
Think about 2 rows out.
Cool hat, man. Really cool hat. There was also the promise that we wouldn't raise taxes on anybody making less than $250,000 a year. But the Affordable Care Act includes a tax on every single insurance policy issued in America, 2.5% a year. Last time I left, on every drug company, and a tax placed on every medical device company. And in congressional hearing, Senator John Cornyn of Texas asked the director of the Congressional Budget Office, Douglas Elmsdorf, who would pay those taxes. Would they be paid by the hospitals, the drug companies, and the medical device manufacturers? Would the taxes be paid by the companies, or would they be paid for by their customers? And Douglas Elmsdorf said, of course they're going to be passed through to their customers. So we're funding the Affordable Care Act by $500 billion in taxes on people who are conscientious enough to purchase health insurance for their families, and people sick enough they have to go to a hospital, rely upon a drug, or have a medical device implanted to rely upon. And how stupid is that? There's also a special tax on every single college student who has a guaranteed federal student loan. You may not know that. What the heck does guaranteed student federal loans have to do with the Affordable Care Act or the health care reform? As a part of the bill, it nationalized the guaranteed federal student loan program so you can no longer go to a private bank and get from a private pool of capital a student loan with a federal guarantee. Now you have to get it from the government with money we don't have. We borrow it, we print it, we borrow it from ourselves at 2% interest, we loan it to college students who might not otherwise be able to go to college without a federal guaranteed student loan, at roughly 6%, and the 4 points of interest in between will result in $9 billion of payments by students in the next decade. All of which will go not to fund education or more student loans or Pell Grants. It will go to fund the Affordable Care Act. And then my personal favorite. This is going to reduce the deficit by $143 billion. Only if you believe in the tooth fairy. They said $143 billion in February when the bill passed. In April, they came back and said, oops, we made a little bit of a mistake. The bill, we forgot to include the cost of implementing the bill, which is $115 billion. And then Congressman Paul Ryan of Wisconsin pointed out that this state finances its continuing efforts, its continuing program, by borrowing money. It borrows $53 billion from the Social Security Trust Fund. It borrows $393 billion from Medicare. It borrows $70 billion from a new insurance premium pool that they were going to try and create for a long-term care insurance policy you could buy from the federal government. They called it CLASS. The CLASS program incidentally ended several weeks ago when the government was unable to construct a program that would be actuarially sound over the next 75 years as required by an amendment inserted at the last minute by Senator Judd Gregg in New Hampshire. But they're borrowing money to pay for this. I happened to see the head of the OMB in March in Sea Island, Georgia, and I said to him, has Paul Ryan got this right? He just given a little talk there, and Elmendorf listened to it. I said, is Paul right? Are we borrowing money from Social Security and Medicare and the CLASS Act in order to pay for the bill? And he said, yes, but we're leaving behind an IOU. And I said, don't you have to pay the IOU back sometime? And he said, yeah. How sustainable is a program that costs $1.055 billion in its first 10 years on the books, for which we are borrowing $701 billion in red ink? The answer is clear. It's unsustainable. Now, does that mean that, that the bill is going to be, well, the Supreme Court is now going to hear it. The Supreme Court is going to rule on the individual mandate, the requirement that every American, as a result of being alive, has to purchase health insurance. Hillary Clinton supported an individual mandate in 2007, and she was savaged by an opponent in the Democratic presidential primary named Barack Obama, who attacked her in speeches and in television ads for advocating it. I think it's supremely ironic that we're now going to have the Supreme Court trying to decide whether or not the bill is constitutional on the basis of a provision that President Obama attacked in 2007 and supported in 2010.